Limmy's World of Glasgow. Phil.
I was up in Glasgow. I was just coming out of McDonald's on Sauchiehall Street, just coming out with my Big Mac meal, and I hear someone say, "Big issue, new edition," to me. I turn around, big issue vendor, looking at me, practically fast asleep, standing up, asking me if I wanted to buy a big issue. I said, "No thanks mate, I've got one already." Complete lie. He said, "Okay sir, no bother, have a nice day anyway." And just then, out of the corner of my eye, is this blur of a luminous yellow. I turn around a bit to see what it is, and it's a copper. It's this copper running at full speed at this big issue vendor with his fist raised. And wig wham bam, the copper drives his fist into this little heroin addict's face. It was like a sledgehammer hitting a snowman, an absolute haymaker. The little boy done a backflip, landed on his head, knocked him out stone cold. The whole thing was over in a second, and I was standing there wondering, what has just happened here? The copper kneels down, grabs this guy, starts shaking him. I mean, the guy's knocked out, just completely not responding. He was like a rag doll. And the copper was shouting, "What the fuck have I told you?" In a Glaswegian accent. The copper was from Glasgow. He was shouting, "What do you mean, have a nice day anyway? Have a nice day anyway, despite what? The guy hasn't done anything wrong. How many times have I fucking told you about this?" But the little guy couldn't hear him. He could have been dead. I said to the copper, I don't mean to tell you your job, but is he okay? And the copper said, "Excuse me sir, you English?" I said, "Yeah, I'm from Blackpool." He said, "I am so sorry sir, you coming up from England and having to put up with this shit." I said, "It's no problem mate, we've got plenty of them down in Blackpool, I'm used to it." The copper said, "Well, we don't put up with that shit up here sir." Picks up the little guy, still completely knocked out, holds him up with his hands underneath the little guy's armpits, and says, "What's your name sir?" I said, "Phil." He says, "On you go sir, free hit before I take the cunt to the station." I said, "What, you wanted me to hit him?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Are you serious?" He said, "Yeah, and sir, no offence, but can you get a move on?" I said, "Okay," and I gave the little guy a little punch in the stomach. The copper said, "Is that it? Hit him! Hit his face, you big softy." I said, "Okay, watch your face then, make sure his head doesn't bounce off your face." He said, "I'll get a good thinking, sir." So I took a little step back and gave him a good old bop to the nose. He said, "Not bad, not bad. See if the boys back at the station can beat that." And dragged the little guy back to his police van, dragged him by the hair. Absolutely unbelievable. Just typical Glasgow. I have got to move up there. Absolutely sensational.